Hey, someone sent me Buzz Rossfield's number. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Day Sports, where I basically go and chat about rugby league, cricket, whatever sports that I'm feeling for the next 25 plus minutes. If you're new here, welcome. I appreciate you having a little bit of a listen. There might be a few new people because social media has absolutely blown up in the last week, so I do appreciate all the support. And if you are returning, you know what you're in for. Go find the timestamps, whatever you do want to listen to, it'll all be there for you. This one might be a little bit short and sweet because A, I've got to go to the dentist directly after this and then get into editing, so I don't have infinite time tonight. And then 2, I was at a Bucks party over the weekend, so I can't say I was glued to the footy like I would be in other weeks, I suppose. So I'll pretty much just go over the games that I did actually get to watch. Others I'll kind of like brush over and whatever. But we've got a little bit of rugby league news to jump into first. And actually, before we get into all that, I would just like to say my thoughts do go out to Craig Bellamy and his family. The Storm have put out some news in relation to Craig's health. I'm not really going to get into it outside of that, but yeah, wish him well moving forward with everything. So, and then kind of going into, I suppose, more health and injury stuff. Whoever is out there with the Brisbane Broncos voodoo doll poking that thing, snapping legs, doing this, that, and everything else, can you just knock it off? Because the injury crisis at Broncos is getting worse and worse until I actually found out like how serious and like the fact that he could have lost a leg. I was like, oh shit, like I thought it was just like, oh yeah, relieve a little bit of pressure. It's not like the end of the world. But then the NRL physio went on and kind of explained, and you're like, oh, that looks fucked. And then there was the news where it was like, if they didn't do it when he did, like dead nerves, all sorts of horrible shit. So again, thoughts go out to Dino, his family, friends, whoever else as well. Yeah, rest up because that sounds absolutely horrible. God knows when he's going to be back. Karapani as well, victim of a hip drop there over the weekend. Like whether or not he's going to be sweet, he has been named to play, so like should be okay. But obviously it can't be like too serious in that case if they already put him in the team list. And then it was the other week as well. We lost Brendan Piakora for a period of time, like however many weeks. I think it was like 4 to 8. It was a significant amount of time as well. Don't quote me on that particularly for Brendan Piakora, but yeah, really, really horrible stuff for Deine Mariner. Like, there's going to be a little bit of chatter, I suppose. It's just like, should the Broncos have sent him back out there? No doubt in my mind, if they knew that the extent of the injury or the possibility of that injury, no way they would have sent him back out there to play. Compared to other situations that we have seen in the last, say, 12 months. Obviously he passed like whatever tests or whatever he needed to be doing, and yeah, a bit of a freaky one. I just never really understood the extent of whatever it is. But yeah, at this stage, honestly, I will be lining up in the back line for the Brisbane Broncos because, yeah, they are running high and dry. I'm pretty sure Ben Hunt's been named this week, and I don't believe he's due back anytime soon. They're just like, we need a guy to put in the lineup. We need to be able to fill numbers basically at this stage. So go Dozer. All right, moving. Oh, and then, yeah, obviously Reno as well out with a head knock. That should only just be for the week. But, again, you're losing your captain and your halfback. Like, it keeps getting worse. Bloody touch wood. I might need to do, like, the Manly Seagulls fans, and I'll get into them later. In particular, Ella, the Northern Beaches dribbler. She has been hiring a witch for Manly, which hasn't exactly worked out in this last week. But I might need to get a wizard on board, something like that. Look into the dark, deep corners of Etsy and the internet itself to maybe get a wizard to put some sort of spell over Red Hill and the Brisbane Broncos to avoid injuries, because we might be a little bit cursed at the moment. We need to get to the bottom of this. But moving on, I did briefly chat about the whole Papua New Guinea Chief Luai situation last week, but I put that video out, I made it Monday, it didn't come out till Wednesday morning. I'm not re-recording stuff. I think it was literally the next day news comes out, or Luai has officially signed as the inaugural signing for the PNG Chiefs. And I'm like, well, that did not age well, me saying that. I don't think he was going to go anywhere and he was going to stay with the Tigers and stay there. So, yeah, massive for Luai. Like, it is huge, and some of the content and videos that have been coming out from the official PNG account has been like unreal, particularly the announcement of his signing. You're like, this is goosebump stuff where his name's going to be like echoed throughout the tribes and everything. You're like, yes, this is great. I was joking with mates. I was like, oh, maybe Papua New Guinea needs some content creators to go over there. Obviously, I'm a tiny fish in a big pond, but they jumped on board that idea. They've had the Hello Sport guys, Levels, the buy rounds, some really, really big content creators go over there, get the propaganda machine of the PNG Chiefs behind them. But, hey, again, I'll put my hand up. If you want to send me over, I'll live in a compound for the rugby league season. As long as the cash-free money's coming through there as well. But No, but all jokes aside with it, it is. I was talking with a lot of friends and that over the weekend, and they kind of asked me, knowing that I'm into footy and whatever, over the weekend, what I thought of it. And again, what the fuck I say doesn't matter because I don't know shit. I just like to have a bit of a yap. But for Jarome Luai, yeah, Jarome Luai is going to go down as the chief. Like, he's their first signing. Very good chance that he could be the captain as well. But he is, could potentially go down as one of the biggest players in NRL in rugby league history. And I'm not saying, he's one of the greatest players necessarily. I'm not putting him up there with, some of the greats. Not at this stage, you never know. But the bloke has won ridiculous amount of premierships, 4 of them rings, 4 of them bad boys, a couple of state of origins, however many origins, everything that he's done for Samoa. And then now what he's going to be involved with the Papua New Guinea Chiefs is just going to be ridiculous. Like, yes, New Zealand's got a team, and I suppose you could look at that as like as a nation behind them, but not in the same way that it's going to look for Papua New Guinea. Like, their national sport is rugby league. They bleed for it. They love it. They froth it. So I've seen a lot of people say there's already statues probably built, and that's probably the case. So, especially if they go well, like, he is going to be etched in history. Like, it is going to be ridiculous. So, and then, you add on top of that a couple of untaxed brown paper bags, then, it'd be rude not fit. It'd be rude not to go, but I think there is a lot involved with it. Obviously, the Tigers seem to have handled it very well, but yeah, great for him, I'm sure. It's going to be allow him to buy a lot more Pokemon cards into the future. So yeah, he might be getting that Jake Paul money or something. But yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. And I think a lot of teams and coaches and organizations and that are starting to be like, oh shit, we probably didn't realize such a big name was going to be going over there. Particularly what he's been able to do with the West Tigers in the last couple of years. Like, he going from I think it was 3 times, however many wooden spoons that they got, not wooden spoon last year, and then all of a sudden they're in the top 4, top 8 this season. So if that's, and there's a lot of moving parts there, a lot of players, coaches, and whatever involved, but I feel like a big driving force of that, at least culturally and leadership wise, definitely was Jarome Luai. So if that's what he can do to that, you're like, yeah, that's the guy that you wanted a brand new club in a new venture. And obviously Michael Shama has seen that as well and said, yes, sign me up for a little bit of that Luai action. Here's the brown paper bags. Let's go. But yeah, absolutely wild. But yeah, like I said, a few clubs are starting to be like, hang on. Coming out like, oh, this is kind of an unfair advantage and this, that. And apparently the tax-free incentive's like 10 years, which I personally think is a long time. I suppose it does take a while to get a club off the ground. You're dealing with a lot of logistical stuff and blah, 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 blah. Like, funny that I'm not a bloody head of a NRL club, but yeah, 10 years I feel like it's a really long time. I reckon there's going to be a long, long list of rugby league players going, oh, a little bit of PNG retirement money. Like, the Gold Coast used to be the bloody retirement ground for the players that have done enough for the Super League or whatever. But PNG, so that's a lot closer than England. Probably not as bloody cold, and you're going to be earning big cash money. So I reckon there's a few players that could well and truly be on that list. And if Luai supposedly has got his fingers in the pie when it comes to picking the team, you might see a few of his mates go over there. Obviously, we got no names or anything, but I reckon there's going to be a long list of them there. As long as they keep their bloody hands off Paddy Carrigan, then that's all that matters to me. Paddy the Painter, don't come near him. That's fine. All right, let's get into a cheeky little round 9 recap. Absolute shocker of a round for me. I feel like I failed everyone. 7 for 8, 8 for 8. Came in hot in this round, went 4 out of 8. I think it's the worst round that I've had this season so far, at least by heaps. I think I got as low to about 125 in ranking of tippers, and now I'm up around 800. So I've blown that out of the water, but we're going to claw it all back once we get in next round. But this round, yeah, it was an absolute doozy. Started off pretty hot, 4 for 4, and then she went straight off a cliff after that. Cowboys beat the Doggies, never in doubt for the Cowboys. Losing Nanai again for like a month, though. The dude just come back from injury and he's gone. But yeah, serious issues there at the Dogs. Cowboys, they kind of did what I thought they were going to do. They were just going to go out and score more points, and essentially that's what we saw. Scotty Drinkwater was on one. He was doing all kinds of things. Ruben Cotter had a good game. Like, Cowboys did what they needed to do. Didn't get to see all of it, really. Kind of was at the pub doing a bit of this, bit of that. This next one I was front and center for, or just about. So, like I said, I was at a Bucks party, so we actually had a outdoor corporate box for this one. So it was about 8 of us in there. It was unreal. Like, if I had the cha-ching, that is how you go and watch rugby league. You got people bringing you food, drinks. Like, I sat right next to the esky, so it was prime seating for me. You got bloody spring rolls coming through, sliders, the works. Like, you name it, it was coming. Your drinks start running like, oh, hey, mate, can we just grab 8 more golds in there? And they'd go off, bring it back, put it in the esky. Maybe I'm explaining stuff that, many people have already experienced, but it's the first time for me, and it was unreal. But Dolphins, they go out there and get it done over the Storm. Now, Storm, they had a red hot crack at this, at least in the first half. I felt like they were very, very much in it. And then it just kind of slipped away, particularly in the second half. So, yeah, the Finns just managed to go out and do the damn thing. So, Jack Bostock, he looked like he'd been shot out of a cannon, like returning from, I believe it's an ACL injury. First game back in like the 20 whatever number jumper he had. What did he score 2 tries or whatever he was doing? Like, he was making meters, breaking tackles. Like he's like, I got to make up for lost times here. Get out of my way. So yeah, he was absolutely elite. So you got Herbie Farmworth on one center and Jackie Bostock on the other, just punishing people. So yeah, Dolphins, they performed very well. I was very confident they were going to get it done, and they went out and did it. The Milk, they beat the Titans. Simi Sasangi, he's a one-man army. A lot of people were doubting the Canberra Milk in this one. I got a little bit worried at some points. I don't usually get nervous, but it did look a little bit like Canberra were, kind of doing their thing from a couple of seasons ago where, we'll just play one half and then we'll back off after that. It was a game that probably should have been the Titans' grasp, but Raiders managed to just absolutely snake it from them. Didn't get to see this one. Wales gave the Eels a hiding. They gave them a nice little touch up. So, yeah, rough out there for the Eels, but they do seem like they've been able to somewhat like stick in games. The Volkman's gone absolutely off in this, scoring a double. This next one, I didn't really get to watch. I've watched like the KO mini and whatever, but I didn't get to watch it live. I watched the last 10 minutes just as bloody Tony Staggs got sent off for 10 there. But Broncos, again, kind of doing what they've done in the last probably season or so, almost having one of the great comebacks of all time. So Roosters obviously went out, particularly in that first half, and absolutely gave them a thumping. I think, we've done well considering we're missing like literally all of our starting props besides Paddy Carrigan at this stage. That inevitably we're going to come up against a really big aggressive front row like the Roosters have. Look, it is what it is. And again, I'm not trying to make up excuses. I think a lot of people thought the Broncos were going to drop a lot more of these games. So to come back from where they did nearly win it, it says probably a lot more about the Roosters than it does actually about the Broncos. So, but yeah, losing Karapani for a bit, not great. I'd just given Karapani and Dino the biggest raps because they have been some of our absolute best players. Both of them get bloody injured. So that stops your go forward. So the amount of meter carries that those guys are doing from the back. Victor Radley, how in the world he did not cop any sort of suspension, anything. Like, they caught the man red-handed on live television when they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you actually have nothing. He was like, genuinely shocked. So yeah, how that even played out, I have no idea. Then you got Renault obviously getting knocked out. Doesn't really help for the price of eggs at all when he's going off so early. But the Duff man came in and did a job. So it's really weird. Like, I feel like you want Renault there, and we've seen that in the last few weeks. Like, we would not have won these games at all if Renault wasn't there. But you've got a very, very handy replacement of the Duff man. And then it kind of opens up Walsh as well. It becomes a lot more Walsh's team. Duff man, or even if it's like Ben Hunt, will take that little bit of a step back and you just kind of let the magic of Reece Walsh go out. So I feel like that's what we're going to see in the week at least that Renault's going to be out for. We'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, and then Broncos, like, the wind was behind them, the sails are up, we're running downhill on the way home, and Katoni Staggs just decided, let me just test out Hugo Savala's head on my elbow, don't mind if I do. Yeah, bit of a brain snap, he's out for 2 weeks, however long, I'm not even sure. I was just like, well, he's suspended. Love it when Katoni's aggressive. Did you get it right on this one? No. What are you going to do? You can't guarantee you're going to win it anyway. Probably would have helped to have him out there. But yeah, can't win them all, I suppose. Moving on, Knights, they just beat the Bunnies in one of the highest scoring games that we've seen this season, like another 80-odd point game. I personally find it really enjoyable, more so in these situations, not so much like the next game where the Sharks go out there and absolutely annihilated the Tigers, but in these ones where they're super high scoring, they're really close. It's like both of these teams just like, look, we're not going to defend. We both got fucking attacking weapons across the park. Let's go out and do this damn thing. And again, so I did my tips. To be fair, wouldn't have actually changed it for this game, but I did my tips and everything before the team list came out, so I didn't know that Ponga, Lucas, like all the Bradman Best, all these guys were going to be back in. The Knights, they're looking rejuvenated. They're looking way hotter and a lot more like their starting season form in this game, particularly against a Red Hot Bunny side. So I thought that was really, really good. Yeah, in a game where 80 points is scored, the only thing that I truthfully want to know is how did the mythical try scoring Knights, Dom Young, not get over? That is the real question, because that man scores tries for fun. You got Lucas scoring bulk. You got fucking, I think Bradman Best scored bulk. Like, you got people scoring. No, it was Marju. Marju's scoring like 3 tries. Yeah, the Knights look great, especially in front of a home crowd. They were frothing it, but they were this close to fucking it up. Like, if Latrell Mitchell had his way, and he was so close. If he'd kicked these goals, because he had one that he absolutely sprayed. So it's a little bit, I don't know what's going on with his goal kicking. Usually it's pretty good, Latrell. Kicks them straight as an arrow, but it is what it is. Unreal some of the stuff that Latrell Mitchell can do. Like, he's on a warpath at the moment, and again, I'm terrified coming into Origin with the form that he's in. The try that he scored, we've all seen it, but literally using Kalen Ponga as a speed bump. Kalen I think, commented on the Instagram being like, yeah, you got me there, bro. But literally using Kalen as a speed bump. And then straight after that, like a stride after, has the mindfulness then leap through the air, put the ball down while someone's trying to take him out. Like, just ridiculous filth. And then just slots the goal. I think gives the crowd a little bit of feedback, and you're like, fuck yeah, Trell, I'm so on with this. And then, yeah, there was an unfortunate drop ball from Ewan Aiken, I think in the 10 or 20, which allowed the Knights to get back over. But it is what it is. You know, if the Rabbithos didn't allow them to get that hectic lead, well, they probably would have been in that spot. So, is what it is. Tigers, this was my worst pick of the weekend, really. They went out and got annihilated by the Sharkies. I thought they were well and truly in the first half. Like, the scores were close anyway. I think it was, 16, 10, 12, whatever it was, into half time. And then they were like, okay, well, that's me done for the day. No more rugby league. We're going to pack up. And the Sharks decided we're going to go out and absolutely pound them. Give them the 50-point curse and cross them out. So, well, Tigers, it was fun while it lasted, but it's all over now. And then, yeah, Sharks, they just smelt blood in the water in the form of a young winger. I believe it was Tavana, and I hope it was him and not somebody else, but he got kicked to shit. The amount of drop balls, mistakes, this, that, and everything. The Tigers are really like, yeah, we're going to sacrifice some young wingers this year, and that is exactly what they did. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Happened to Macassini a couple of weeks ago against the Broncos, so it is what it is. Young fella, like, not much you can really do about it. But yeah, a little bit disappointed. I thought the Sharks, well, to be fair, I tip against the Sharks regardless of what's going on. Anyone that's been around for a while knows that I just religiously tip against them. Mostly it's just a piss take, but at this stage, until they win 3 in a row. So if they win this week, I can officially, again, tip the Sharks. But at this point, I feel like they're not going to win. Last but not least, the Riff, they just bring an end to Fosball. At least Fosball's unbeaten streak, just beating Manly, a weakened Manly team as well. This was a really tight, grindy game. I thought Manly did a really, really good job. When I saw Fogarty was out and they knew Walsh was coming in, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but they managed to stick with them, which was really, really impressive. Like, the way that Penrith have been doing these teams the last few weeks. So for Manly to stick with them, now I really feel like they had a good opportunity to win this game. Like 10 minutes left or whatever. Who was it that went off? Whoever went off. Regardless, they're a man down. Penrith were a man down. And Manly just couldn't keep the ball or couldn't even get the ball. Penrith controlled that 10 minutes so well. They've been there, done that before. Didn't even give him a chance to strike back and actually win this game. And I feel like, Joey Walsh, while he played an exceptional game, set up an unreal try earlier in it, maybe that's where the experience of a Fogarty would have been like, all right, let's get up the field, let's do this. And I'm sure that's what Walsh would have been trying to do, but, fuck. Probably played, is that his debut? Whatever it is, he's played like a handful of games, and you're going up against the Iceman himself. So Penrith just get it done. All right, and that gets us straight into round 10. Magic round next week. I'm so excited for it. But yeah, round 10, what are we doing? What are we looking at? Who's in, who's out? Let's see. All right, Thursday night, Scaries. Dolphins versus the Bulldogs. I'm going Finza. I wish I kept my fin that I found on the weekend. I've got a Finns stubby cooler, but regardless, yes, Finns up. I'm going to go with them 1-12 in this one. The Dogs have not had much fun at all. They beat Penrith in the last month and a bit, and outside of that has been dismal, and I really don't see it turning around a whole lot, not going to lie. And they haven't had a whole lot of fun at Suncorp Stadium of recent either. The Broncos have kind of been doing them in. So, yeah, I feel like Finns up are going to do the same thing. But it's one of those games where it's like, I just feel the Doggies will inevitably snag one. I just don't. I hope, anyway, it's not going to be coming against the Dolphins this week. But, yeah, like, I just can't see them holding out the Dolphins. They're just such a super attacking football team. Like, especially as well with fucking Jackie Bostock's playing anything like he did last week. Watch out, because you got some absolute rip and tearing centres in there. So, Doggies are going to well and truly be up against it. Yeah, I can just see it going a whole lot like last week against the Cowboys. I could almost go Control C, Control V, because I feel like it's going to go that way. Yeah, they might get a couple points on the board, but unless there's been any drastic changes, but I don't believe there has been, it looks like basically the same lineup. Ends out. No man, no Turpin either, so that's not going to help them at all getting forward. Yeah, Finns do it comfortably, I think, in this one. And I'm going to go with Irby to score anytime. Now, Roosters versus the Titans. I'm going Roosters 13 plus. As much as I would love to see the Titans go there and absolutely roll the Roosters, a little revenge from last week for them beating the Broncos. Honestly, if it was just about any other team, I would be picking it, but I just can't pick against the Roosters at home at this point. Like the Titans just, I feel like it's going to be a rough one. I feel like this is like hold your hats because you're about to get blown away sort of stuff. And they're absolutely rolling at the moment. Their forward pack again is just going to keep them momentum flying. The backs will get on the back of it. Teddy will scoot all around the place, pants on or off, up to him really essentially. They've got a couple outs though, I think, in the front row, but that's not going to do too much, I don't think. Who have we got? Who's Mythin? Got a bloody list there. Lindsay Collins. Okay, yeah. So Big Lindsay's out and no Mark Nwangi Tawase, but I don't really think that's too much of a drama. Cody Ramsey, who made a return last week, I believe, after being out for an obscene amount of time. So good to see him get a little bit of game time. So I forgot how long Marky Mark's out for. I think he's out for a significant bit there. But yeah, Titans, it's like, what are they actually going to be able to do? I'm not too sure. And I'm going to go with Teddy anytime. All right, moving on. Cowboys versus Eels. I'm going to go with the Cowboys 13 plus in this one, but I swear to God, if the Cows fuck me in this, I might implode. And the Eels, like I said, I feel like they have been like somewhat, they've been snagging a couple tries, winning a little game here and there, kind of hanging around in games maybe a little bit longer, or making them a little bit more competitive than you would think. And the Cowboys, I feel like their actual form is the last couple of weeks. What was it against Manly? They played fucking dreadful. Like outside of that, though, I feel like they are there and abouts. I don't think they're like a world beating team this year, but they should be able to beat the Eels. It's basically where I'm seeing it at this stage. But yeah, the Eels, like if they're not winning or they're sniffing around, they're getting close. So that makes me a little bit uneasy, and I can see this being quite a high scoring game. But again, if there's a team that I can back, maybe not to defend, maybe not to park the bus and not let any points through, but put the points on the board. Scotty Drinkwater, Tommy did, and the boys are the Cowboys. So yeah, I'll back them 13 plus, and I'll go Scotty Drinkwater anytime. Right, moving on. After their legendary loss, their defeat against the bye round, the Dragons, they're back. They're at Woo Woo Win Stadium, which does mean a little bit of something, but they're playing the Knights, so I do think they're fucked. I'm going to go with the Knights 13 plus in this one. Maybe the bye round is what the Dragons needed. Maybe it is. Who knows? They might have needed just the coach is gone, Flano's gone. I think Kyle's gone. Not too sure what's going on with Kyle, not going to lie. PNG might be calling his name, but they might be able to regroup. Maybe they went out for a massive big piss up like the Broncos did last year, reset everything. Maybe the title run starts now. But probably not. I feel like the Knights, particularly with all these players that they've got back, are ready to do some damage to some teams, honestly. Like, I feel like, particularly Callum Ponga. Callum Ponga is just getting so involved. He's just straight in my Supercoach team. Thanks for coming. Sorry, Sua Falongo. Watch Sua go out there and score an absolute beastly amount of points. But I don't know if Callum Ponga, it's like, it's progressive, obviously, but he's bulked up. Like, he's not exactly the smallest dude, but he's looking like fit and fighting. So, again, touch wood that he can stay fit. But I feel like whoever does eventually, surely they win one, right? But whoever eventually loses to the Dragons, that would have to just about be a kiss of death on your season. Like, as far as Omen goes, that would have to be the worst. But what are we rolling up to now? Lost 9, I suppose, for the Dragons. So, yeah, we're looking for 0-9. That'd be great to see. I'm not even sure how long the longest losing streak would be. They'd have to be up there somewhere, right? The Tigers probably hold it, but the Dragons can't be far behind the way things are going. But yeah, I just can't see them really doing too much against a Knights team, particularly if they play anything like last week. Like, their back line is going to do dirty, dirty things. You're throwing a Fletcher Sharp into Dilly Bags. Their spine just carrying it through. Yeah, you're going to be having a bad time, and I'm going to go with Kalen Ponga to score anytime. Alrighty, Rabbithos versus the Sharpies. I'm going Rabbits 1-12 because, of course, I'm always going to go against Sharks until they win 3. But even then, against the Rabbitohs, they're at home. I feel like they're going to be very disappointed with the way things went last week, so I can see them coming out hot. Not letting the Sharkies jump them like the bloody, who did it? Knights last week. Latrell Mitchell, I keep banging on about it. Trell Mitt, that's it. He's just been on an absolute terror. He's been on a tear, so I can see that continuing as well. Yeah, the Sharks, I feel like, though, I'm a little bit concerned about this. Like, I'm still going with the Rabbitohs. I'm still going 1-12, but I feel like the Sharks they've got the players to probably go toe-to-toe with the Rabbitohs team. Losing Jackie White to a broken arm, not the most amazing. Actually, where did they put Cam Graham? I'm interested. Did they put him in the centres? Sorry if I sound nasally as fuck. Did have about 3,000 darts over the weekend. Yes, Campbell Graham is in the centres. I like that a lot better because you've got your hands full there with KL Iro and Talakai. So, yes, he'll shut a lot of that down, I think. So, that'll be very interesting. It's a great matchup across the board with this team. But, yeah, I reckon there's just going to be a fire under the arse of under the Rabbitohs and Sharks. Just they got a tendency to not play well anywhere but home and definitely can go missing. So, we'll see. But I'm going to go with the Buddies, like I said, and I'm going to go Trellbit. That's it. All right. Moving on to Manly versus Brisbane Broncos. Do I need to state the obvious? I'm going Brisbane Broncos, not 13 plus. I will go 1-12. I love what Manly are doing with their like retro 80-year, whatever the bloody hell it is, and they got like the old Broncos logo. Like even before my time, that old logo on there, I'm like, damn, it looks good. So hopefully they got that up on like the scoreboard or something like that. That would actually look really sick. But yeah, like I said, without Reno this week, we got the Duff man in there. He's been doing a damn job. We always like to say, Reno don't miss, take it back to halfway because he's so good at kicking. But the Duff man, he's actually quite the kicker himself. So I've got a lot of faith in the young fella if push comes to shove to be able to ice the kicks from the tricky positions. So yeah, I like that. Let the Duff man do his thing. But without Reno in that team, I think you are really going to see Reese just grab the reins and just go, yeah, this is my team now. Get on my back, boys, because I'm going to lead you to the promised land. And we've seen it time and time again. I can see 40-20s. I can see try assists. I can see Harbour Bridge cutout passes, flick balls even, you name it. I think he's going to be doing it. And Manly, yes, Fosball's been hot. I've been a big believer in the propaganda, which is Fosball, but they're not exactly a team that I'm like, oh, I'm terrified of. I'm not terrified of some halves combination. Fogarty can kick, don't get me wrong, but I'm not terrified of that. Their backs, yeah, they got a bit of speed, but so do we. And their forward pack, they've got some big suckers in there. But, you know, there's always like those kids growing up that they're huge, but don't really know they're huge. I feel like it's a little bit like that. So, and we just got Junkyard Dogs and Jack Gojetski and Ben Tolte in there. Preston Ricky's going to be knocking the door down. I feel like as well, Karapani has been named. We got Van Hooven on the wing as well. But regardless of who playing, we've seen it over the last few weeks. It's just going to be that next man up mentality. So I very well think the Broncos are going to be able to get it done. But yeah, they've already taken their first Fosball loss. It is going to be tough against them at Brookvale. But look, I feel like Broncos are going to be well and truly up. I'm hoping Ezra can step up a little bit from last week. But if you still look at that team list, you're like, that is a damn good looking team. So yeah, it'll be interested and very keen for it. We've kind of had the wood over Manly for, I'd like to know the last time we actually lost against Manly. It would have been some time ago. Maybe I can have a look into that. I probably won't. Don't know. But yeah, it's been a while, and I'm going to go with Reece Walsh anytime. Alrighty, I think we're on to the last two. Storms versus Tigers. This one obviously down in Amy Park. I'm going Storm on 12. It's time. It's time to break the streak. They've lost, 7, I believe, at this stage. And they're coming up an absolutely depleted Tigers side that just got their cheeks clapped by the Sharks last week. So yeah, I feel like Tigers, they really let me down last week. And I'm a little bit scared of any team that does have 50 point on them. But Storm need to bounce back as well, and I argue they needed a lot more than the Tigers at this stage. Down home, and they're eventually going to snag one. It's going to happen. And then Storm, you might look at the Dragons and you're like, there's no turning point in near future at all. You're like, you're just going to get pumped this entire year and it's just going to be one of those years. I just can't see that happening for the Storm. Maybe I'm seeing things through rose-coloured glasses where I'm like, it can't keep happening. It can't keep happening. But I feel like, they're going to come right somewhere, maybe midway through this season and go on a bit of a spree and might start getting some of those teams back that have actually gone out and beat them. But yeah, I feel like this week is going to be the time for the Storm, and I'm going to go with Sua Failongo to score anytime. Right, last but not least, I do really like this one for a Sunday arvo. Nice little way to end round 10 in the Milk versus Penrith Panthers. I am going to go with the Riff 1 to 12 in this one. I went against them last week and that didn't go so great. But I feel like it's another one of those games where you're like, this could end up being really close. And again, wouldn't surprise me at all if the Milk were able to pull off a cheeky little underdog victory here. There's just I don't know. And they've got a few returning players as well. I think Ethan Strange is back in. You got the suspended Huddy Young coming back, which is another big boost for them. So Simi Sasungi might just say, hey, boys, don't worry. I'll do it all by myself. I'll score bloody 10 tries. No stress, no worries at all. But the Raiders, yeah, they are a gritty team, super aggressive, obviously, through the middle. So, yeah, I'm keen for this game. It could be a good challenge for them as well. Penrith definitely won't want a repeat of what happened last year, the Miracle and Budgie. So, Jed Stewart might just pluck it up with another one out of the air and take off. You never know. But, yeah, surely the Penrith Panthers will be able to get this done, right? You'd think. Surely they should be all right. Yeah, the Raiders, the only thing that does concern me is even if they got off to a lead or anything, they're getting back into their old ways of maybe not playing the whole 80 minutes of footy. So hopefully that's not what we see if they do get ahead. I'm almost backing myself in to go the Raiders, but I just can't go against Penrith, who have only lost, once this season. So yeah, it's got to be them 1 to 12, and it's got to be Milky Jenkins anytime. I forgot if he scored last week, honestly. I was a little bit dusty come that Sunday, but yeah, up the riff. That's basically everything that I've got time for tonight. Again, dentists and all that, which I better race off to. So that's going to be fun. Anyway, don't mind me. Make sure you get around all the social media. Like, subscribe, follow, comment, all that sort of jazz. Jump on the Apple, Spotify, rate it. Do what you need to do, and I'll catch you next week.